It's the frustration of normal people watching a certain class of people get away with everything every single time.
Well, there, Tucker, I couldn't say that better myself.
I want to talk with you about a number of subjects that directly affect the future of the United States.
What in the hell is going on with this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing? What does some rich-ass wanker from New York have to do with our current state of American politics? See, firstly, we need to explain why Jeffrey Epstein is still relevant in right-wing media circles, what Trump did to screw himself, and why Tucker Carlson is right, but ever so very, very wrong. First off, why is Jeffrey Epstein relevant at all in our media? Backtracking a little bit, we have to explain the right is obsessed, especially the alt-right that you see online. The very religious aspect of the right as well is obsessed with this narrative involving crimes against children. The Christian right has this sycophantic idea that the most evil people in the world must be the ones in charge and ruining everything. Works of the devil, as you would. Obama was considered the Antichrist for just that particular reason. Most evil person you can imagine. And now they go on to the most horrendous crime that can be imaginable. They do this with every group of people that they wish to demonize. The gays, the liberals, the trans folks, as you would. So it's natural that when somebody in the media gets caught up in this salacious scandal, this horrific crime, and gets sent to jail, it helps reaffirm that worldview, especially when the allegations are so extreme as Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Trump has always appealed to this particular base. He's done it time and time again. You believe Obama's a foreign-born Muslim Kenyan? Well, hey, Trump's your guy. That's how we got to start in politics. He's never really been one to push back against the fringe extreme conspiracy theorist. Trump was the one that provided government funding for the COVID vaccine, Operation Warp Speed. Don't let him forget. He's actually quite fond of the vaccine, has told his supporters numerous times to get it, but every time he has, he's always been pushed back against it.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right.
Because he has appealed to the widest possible coalition of conspiracy theorists. And now going away from the Christian rhetoric, you get these conspiracy theorists who often get roped together. Because if you start believing in one conspiracy, if the government's controlling, say, the moon landing, well, then you get start wrapping up these other conspiracies. If they're controlling the moon landing, what else could they be controlling? That's how they get you. That's how they start looking at you a little funny. And Trump, well, he loves those people because he himself is a little bit of a conspiracy loon. It's how he was developing things like the deep state. It's how we got QAnon and all those other random internet conspiracies going on. Anything that Trump couldn't do was simply a fault of somebody else outside of his control. It's a good excuse when you're insecure. It's not my fault. It must be something at work. I can't be performing inadequately in bed. It must be my wife or spouse that's just simply not doing it right. Sound a little familiar to some folks now, I bet. That's how Trump himself gets pulled into these conspiracies a bit. But it's also how he keeps control over folks. My failures in the economy, not my fault. Must be the Fed not doing what I want them to do. My failures overseas, well, not my fault. It must be all that deep state folks trying to keep me from doing well. I can't make peace in Ukraine, well, Putin's fault for not agreeing with me more. I can't make this or that, it's not actually an issue anymore because we've already solved this and that. It happens so frequently and make your damn head spin. It's been the problem in trying to keep up with this administration because one thing comes out after the other, and frankly, it's impossible to keep up. It's the same type of misinformation that Russia likes to throw out there, folks. Get confused in the chaos, tune out of the media. The good folks will follow along with whatever you say. The neutral folks will just get so damn tired of it, they stop paying attention. And then you can have those folks demonize the other ones. So when Trump throws out 20 different things trying to distract folks from what's happening with his Epstein scandal, perhaps you finally start picking up a piece or two. But let's boil it down to not hard facts, but feelings. People feel ripped off. Our country is at one of the worst points in its history, objectively, economically, culturally. We're fighting at each other tooth and nail. That's not a secret. Folks want to yell at the elites. They know they're to blame for all our country's problems. But here's the issue. When a straw man comes down, with a carpetbagger comes down on a golden escalator and tells you he alone can fix it, maybe take that snake oil salesman for what he is. The right-wing ecosystem has created this reality in which we must hate the other side. Otherwise, we are just as bad as them. They are child molesters, devils, demons, the worst of them all, liberals. It doesn't matter what people actually say or do. All that matters is how I can make them feel. So when Tucker Carlson goes up there and he tells you it feels like the elites are getting away with it, he's right. They are getting away with it. Because Tucker Carlson is an elite. Trump, That rich little baby boy from New York is an elite. That man has never worked a day in his life. He is not humble salt of the earth.
These are people of the land, the common clay of the New West.
So when the elite comes a knocking and tells you, hey, don't worry about that Epstein guy, maybe take a little bit of look and try to see what's happening. When they stir up a frenzy and tell you everything you want to hear, but can't deliver, ask yourself why. Ultimately, what Trump has done is put himself into a corner. We're stuck with about two different options here. Option one, the entire thing was made up and he didn't have any damn evidence to show for it, so now he's trying to save face. All the Epstein conspiracies, out the window. Just needed to get the vote. And hey, he got it now, so what the hell does he need you for?
Because I don't want anybody going on me. We need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't.
At option two, there is a conspiracy. And Trump really is part of that conspiracy, or so deeply involved he can't possibly leak the documents. Otherwise, it might undo everything he's done, which is horrible, horrible crimes against children. Now, to be honest with you, viewer, I don't know which is true. I have personally never subscribed to the general online thing about Epstein not himself. A lack of evidence does not itself prove a conspiracy. It simply allows people to fill in the gaps with fantastical ideas. If there is evidence that comes out that proves it, I'm happy to believe it, but I need to see that evidence first, whether it's a Trump conspiracy, a Biden conspiracy, or any conspiracy whatsoever. But what we need to focus on are the things that people think are behind the curtain but are right there plain as day in front of you. You don't want the elite to get away with stuff. Donald Trump has been getting away with crimes left and right. Now, the right has been so focused on these horrendous crimes of Jeffrey Epstein that they ain't seen all the theft and thievery going on in our government. Trump appointed the fellow that gave Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal. Alexander Acosta was appointed to Trump's Labor Department after he let Jeffrey Epstein get off with crimes. It was only thanks to journalism, specifically the Miami Herald, that broke the story, that made Jeffrey Epstein get reevaluated for the crimes he had committed. That fourth estate, the thing that Donald Trump labels as the enemy of the people, well, suddenly it's putting a little bit of pressure on him and others. I don't want politicians getting away with crimes. I don't want the rich and powerful to get away with it. But Donald Trump was willing to pardon Eric Adams, so I should say not pardon technically. He was willing to drop charges against Eric Adams just to leverage his political will. So now Eric Adams is scot-free getting away with the crimes he committed, mostly financial fraud and helping foreign agents, something that Tucker Carlson probably wouldn't be too happy with. I don't like it when the rich elite steal from us. When folks like Trevor Milton are able to milk a damn cow and falsify records to get investors, things that I'd be going to jail for, but because he donated to Trump's campaign because his family was a big Trump supporter, well, suddenly, ain't nothing bad going to happen to him. Folks like Devin Archer, who defrauded a Native American tribe for millions of dollars, pardoned because he gave, relatively false testimony to Congress. Testimony was never followed up about the whole Hunter Biden laptop scandal. Well, look at that. Folks like Brian Kelsey committed election crimes, campaign finance violations, pardoned by Donald Trump. Folks like Ross Urbachit, whose name I probably mispronounced, but I really don't care. Better known as the Dread Pirate Roberts Online, he did multiple financial frauds as well as conspiracy to commit murder. Pardoned by Trump just to win the vote of some radicalized libertarians. These people are the elite. They are the ones committing crimes. They would have you believe that the worst crime that you can commit in this country is apparently coming here illegally, but that don't hurt everybody like they do. Donald Trump himself committed numerous crimes, is still committing numerous crimes, massive financial crimes. That money you lost, that money taken away from Main Street that I keep mentioning over and over again, it ain't going to some folks trying to work a damn 9 to 5 in this country just because they want a better life. It's going to some rich folks upstairs. Now, I'll make a lot of jokes about it one way or the other, but that money went over to Jeffrey Epstein. It went over to Donald Trump, of which he was a great friend. And I know, the excuses will come, well, Joe Biden did the same thing. He was just as bad. He pardoned his son Hunter. And yeah, I don't particularly agree with Joe doing that. But if you can't see the difference between the numerous amount of people that Donald Trump has pardoned, who have created massive amounts of financial scandals, the elites, and Joe Biden pardoning his son, well, then frankly, you ain't arguing in good faith. Last day of Trump's first term, he pardoned dozens of people, including Steve Bannon, man who helped run his campaign, man who stole and robbed from from Trump's supposed supporters committed fraud. He pardoned thousands of people involved with January 6th. Folks that had committed crime, some of whom self-admitted to committing that crime. Violence occurred that day, yet they were pardoned. Right now, we're dealing with a slight conspiracy involving Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's supposed number 2 and one of the people that helped traffic some of these girls, some of these kids. Now, this is a conspiracy, and I'm not going to give it too much thought, but a conspiracy online is that she was hoping, praying for a pardon from Trump. After all, him and Epstein were such good friends. She was looking at jail time. She was found guilty in her trial. However, she had appealed it. The lawyer for the Justice Department that had been working that case did not want the evidence revealed because it was still an ongoing court case. If for whatever reason the information, the list, whatever you want to call it, was revealed to the public, it would give Maxwell a argument, however flimsy, but an argument nonetheless, that she's no longer allowed to receive a fair trial. That would increase her likelihood of getting out. So a good prosecutor, a good lawyer, doesn't allow that to happen. They don't allow folks to make arguments. They don't provide them an opportunity to do that. That lawyer had the last name of Comey. And I can bet that Donald Trump and all of his nuance kept her on to make sure that Maxwell got her proper day in court and sentenced appropriately. I'm just joking. He fired her too. Yeah, the elite's going to get away with it, Tucker, and you voted for it. Sorry to say. What you were sold by the right, what those podcasters, influencer bros were sold by the right was a lie.
There'll be people that they'll DM me and be like, you see what your boy's doing? You voted for this. I'm like, I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for. Yeah. I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back.
It's okay to question things. And yeah, the left gets up their ass a little bit and wants to make you feel stupid. I get it. But this is the freaking internet. Everybody's here for a click. Everybody's here for $1. Damn it. Don't listen to the noise. Look what's right in front of you. Answers are right there, damn it. All you got to do is pay attention. Watch this space. Hey, howdy folks, this is Editing More here, and I realized as I was putting this video together that there's some things that are going to get brought up inevitably, especially from more conservative commentators, that I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of. First of all, the comparison to Joe Biden. I think it's very clear that we make a very in-the-line dictation that Joe Biden's pardons, however numerous they were for supposed crimes that Trump has accused certain people of, not actual crimes. He made blanket pardons because there was this legitimate fear from Republicans that there would be some type of retribution against certain members of either the government or police or even Congress. You saw that one of them was a Republican representative, Adam Kinzinger, who's a guy I'm a big fan of sometimes. He was given a blanket pardon that he didn't personally accept and went on and press said, no, I'd rather not get this pardon. He did nothing illegal. And you see that now because the Trump administration, while they have claimed that the Jan 6 investigation or Fauci or all these people did things illegally, they haven't actually investigated anything. They're not going to investigate anything because there's no evidence there. Personally, I'm against Biden's pardon because if you believe in the system, if you believe in the rule of law, then you shouldn't make a pardon. But this is the reason that our Constitution and our court system are so strong, is because as demonstrous as the Trump administration is in regards to bringing people to court, they can't just pull evidence out of thin air that holds up in a court of law. And that's a good thing when you have prosecutors and defenders go in and they say, hey, this or that. That's why they've gone after those without legal protections that technically are on the fringe of societies without like the most constitutionally protected rights, citizens. That being said, Joe Biden did pardon his son. That is an inevitable nepotism of the president giving an outreach to his son in order to pardon him from crimes. The specifics of Joe Biden's son being charged to begin with is a bit controversial. You see certain conservative circles don't like his particular charge because it's anti-Second Amendment. And it's also a very rare charge for people to even be charged with. Hunter Biden was charged with being essentially lying on a federal form to acquire a firearm, where he said, I'm not high on drugs. He was high on drugs. We know that. And so he was found guilty of that. It's extraordinarily rare. And the reason it's rare is because when a prosecutor comes with a list of crimes, what happens is they throw everything at the wall that sticks, just to give as much as possible. So that particular crime is used as a tool to go for bigger charges. It's very rarely, as far as I can tell, perhaps someone can correct me. I've done my research on this, but I'm pulling this off from the top of my head. So if I'm wrong, please someone correct me in the comments below. What happens is that particular charge is very rarely pursued as a singular charge. But you notice is that charge was also had nothing to do with anything that Republicans accused Joe Biden or Hunter Biden of in Congress. It was completely irrelevant. It was a minor charge lying on federal form in regards to a firearm purchase. It's vastly different than the mass amounts of fraud that the Trump administration has just blatantly allowed to happen, taken advantage of, or at the very least pardoned people from doing. But again, what they have done is they have pointed the only crime that you can really be guilty of in this country is either being anti-Trump or an illegal immigrant. And that's the overall fear. What we have to realize is that every time Republicans make an accusation, every time the GOP makes an accusation of any wrongdoing by Democrats, it means nothing. Because Joe Biden pardoned all these people that did nothing. Just be clear, they did nothing. There is nothing illegal these people did. He pardoned Fauci. He pardoned some police officers from January 6th that MAGA has threatened to prosecute or threatened to go after legally. He did all of that. But at the same time, sorry, I lost my train of thought. At the same time, they have gone after people for coming to the country illegally or even being in the country legally, but now no longer being authorized because the Trump administration said so. That's not, again, it's not anti-crime. Now, I fundamentally believe that there are a majority of conservative Americans who don't like what is happening. Hopefully on the next Fireside Talks, I'll have one of those particular fellers on. We've had some productive conversations, but it's troubling to see how this has been developing. But losing my damn train of thought again, the reason that the Trump administration, like all of those accusations, are completely wild BS is Joe Biden never pardoned himself. So all the supposed crimes of Joe Biden, the Trump administration has done nothing with. There's been no investigation. There's been no hearings in the House. There was only hearings when he was in power, and they needed to distract from any type of political wins that the Democrats could get. And they do that time and time and time again. It's like clockwork. It's not a both sides comparison, because what you are seeing now is the Justice Department being weaponized against people and the Trump administration going after groups of people purely because they are anti-Trump. You've had people that have been deported, that Charlie Kirk, of all people, has said, oh, he's against that. People being deported for being anti-Israel. The reason that it doesn't matter if Charlie Kirk's against it, because he doesn't care at the end of the day. He's part of the Israeli shill lobbies. He won't care. He won't vote against it. He won't protest. He won't do anything because Trump's his guy. It's the reason he folded on Epstein, Charlie Kirk specifically, and the reason of this video. It's this Tucker Carlson ain't going to do nothing about it because while at the end of the day, while he's being some placid concerns toward Trump administration, it's because they're not being isolationist enough for him, which, just to point out, isolationism is bad and dumb and what got America into World War II. Just learn your history, Lord. What Trump is doing fundamentally, like, they just want him to be worse at certain points. This far right MAGA, this Charlie Kirk, or even the Tucker Carlson, they don't care about the crimes he's committed. They just, oh yeah, it's whatever. The sheer amount of corruption is astounding, especially because, like, look at the Qatar plane. You had Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, say that the Qatar plane was out in the open. The corruption of the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden scandal was behind closed doors. Again, they don't care. They've done nothing to pursue it. Absolutely zero. Joe Biden could easily go to jail tomorrow if they had proof of crimes. They don't. So he sits there and gets super old and help lead to the downfall of American democracy. That's where we're at. That The second thing, that was one thing. The second thing that conservatives are going to clap back about is about Comey being fired. So I'm approaching this with limited knowledge. So again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Shout out to the comment section. It helps the videos. I love it. Like engaging with you guys. The problem is Trump had Comey in his administration as part of his Justice Department, in which firing high-profile lawyers like that is exceedingly rare. Him firing Comey only at this point, the perception is impossible to miss, especially because she had ties to the Epstein case, like she was leading the Epstein case at times, and was also the Maxwell case. What is problematic about her firing, this is what the conservatives will say, is that she was fired because she failed to get any type of actual justice against Jeffrey Epstein, or that she failed against the Diddy case. I don't think conservatives really care about Diddy. There's been limited chatter about that online. Even on like the ground, you talk to your average conservative, they're probably like, oh, LOL, Diddy got out. Haha, I guess the parties are back on. It's kind of irrelevant because Diddy also represents this masculine desire or this masculine safe space of wanting to make sure that men are able to get away with horrendous sexual crimes against women. Not saying most conservatives actually believe that, but the overall under problems of the Diddy thing are so long and separate. While it's arguable that Comey was fired, and again, not the FBI director, but the Department of Justice lawyer was fired because of the Diddy case, that is an argument they can make. The fact that she was fired now, when the Epstein stuff was at its peak, is deeply troubling if you actually cared about justice in this particular case. So maybe any particular conservatives that end up popping over this video, correct me if I'm wrong on any of that. Please show me where I may be eating my own farts. Happy to finally admit at some point in the day that I am wrong. Would love to do it. It's yet to happen yet, but please correct me if I am. As always, like, subscribe. I'm blown away by the support. I apologize. I've been working a lot. My life is a bit of a ups and downsies, and it's tough being a working man in today's economy. So we'll be back here soon. And as always, please watch this space.